What if everything you've been told about creating wealth has been leading you down the wrong path all along? Has it ever occurred to you that the financial struggles keeping you up at night might have nothing to do with the economy, your job, or bad luck? Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share could completely transform your relationship with money forever. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Every single day, millions of people wake up feeling trapped in a financial prison of their own making. They work longer hours, cut more expenses, and still find themselves caught in the same cycle of barely making ends meet. Has this ever happened to you? That sinking feeling when you check your bank account, or that knot in your stomach when unexpected bills arrive? The truth is, we've been conditioned to believe that our financial situation is determined by external forces beyond our control. The job market, the economy, our upbringing, or simply not being in the right place at the right time. But what if I told you that the greatest obstacle standing between you and abundance isn't out there at all? It's within you. Florence Scovel Shinn, one of the most profound spiritual teachers of the 20th century, revealed a powerful secret. Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in order which you live. This isn't just some feel-good quote to put on your vision board. It's a fundamental law of the universe that governs every aspect of your financial reality. Think about it for a moment. Who gave you your current beliefs about money? Were they handed down from parents who struggled? Absorbed from a culture that glorifies the starving artist or views wealth with suspicion? What you believe about yourself and money creates an invisible ceiling that no amount of hard work can break through if left unchallenged. The wealthiest people in the world understand something that most will never grasp. Your outer world of financial circumstances is merely a reflection of your inner world of thoughts, beliefs, and especially the words you speak. The language you use when talking about money isn't just describing your reality, it's creating it with every syllable. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because the solution to financial abundance isn't about complex investment strategies or working yourself to exhaustion. It's about mastering one powerful word that unlocks the floodgates of prosperity. This single word, when properly understood and applied, has the power to transform not just your bank account, but your entire relationship with abundance. And here's what makes this approach different from anything you've tried before. It doesn't require you to change your external circumstances first. You don't need a new job, a windfall inheritance, or even a brilliant business idea. All you need is the courage to change the stories you tell yourself about money. The journey to abundance begins with recognizing the hidden truth behind your financial mindset, a truth that's been hiding in plain sight all along. If these prosperity principles resonated with you, hit the subscribe button now to join our community of conscious creators. Each week, I share Florence Scovel Shinn's most powerful teachings to help you manifest the abundance you deserve. Have you ever stopped to question where your money beliefs actually came from? Most of us inherit an entire financial philosophy before we're even old enough to count. These beliefs weren't chosen consciously. They were absorbed through countless overheard conversations at the dinner table, watching your parents' faces tighten with worry when bills arrived, or noticing how money was either discussed openly or treated as a taboo subject in your home. Society reinforced these early lessons with powerful cultural narratives. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. You have to work hard for every dollar, or perhaps the most limiting belief of all. People like us don't get wealthy. These invisible scripts run silently in the background of your consciousness, creating the boundaries of what you believe is possible for your financial future. The most profound revelation in your wealth transformation journey is understanding that money operates according to spiritual laws that transcend the economic principles taught in business schools. Just as gravity works whether you believe in it or not, these spiritual laws of money are constantly shaping your financial reality, regardless of your awareness of them. This isn't mystical nonsense. It's the behind-the-scenes operating system of abundance that the world's most prosperous individuals have always understood. Money is energy in motion. It responds not to your education, your background, or even your hard work, although those things matter, but primarily to your inner relationship with it. Money is attracted to clarity, repelled by fear, multiplied by gratitude, and magnetized by authentic value. When you begin to see money through this lens, everything shifts. Suddenly, your financial decisions aren't just practical choices. They're energetic declarations to the universe about what you believe you deserve. The way you speak about money, think about money, feel about money, and handle physical currency all broadcast a specific frequency that either attracts or repels prosperity. This understanding puts the power back in your hands. No longer are you at the mercy of economic forces beyond your control. Instead, you become the conscious creator of your financial experience through the alignment of your thoughts, words, and actions with universal principles that have governed wealth since the beginning of time. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the first and most foundational of these spiritual laws, the law of word. This principle, which Florence Scovel Shinn called the most vital power in the universe, reveals why the language you use about money might be the very thing keeping abundance at arm's length. If you've been nodding along as you read this, thinking, this resonates with something I've always sensed, type, I'm awakening to abundance in the comments below. The law of word reveals an uncomfortable truth about our relationship with money that most financial advisors never discuss. Money itself has no emotions. It doesn't judge you, hold grudges, or play favorites. Money isn't moral or immoral. It's simply a neutral force that responds to the energetic frequency you broadcast into the universe. This revelation is both liberating and challenging because it places the full responsibility for your financial situation squarely in your hands. Think of money as a mirror, perfectly reflecting back the signal you transmit. If your internal broadcast constantly features worry, doubt, and scarcity, even if those feelings are hidden beneath your conscious awareness, money will faithfully echo that vibration back to you through your experiences. This isn't punishment. It's simply the universe responding to your energetic signature with perfect precision. Wealthy people aren't necessarily smarter, more talented, or even harder working than you. The defining difference is often the frequency they consistently emit, one of certainty, abundance, and worthiness rather than doubt, scarcity, and unworthiness. Their inner landscape creates a resonance that naturally attracts financial opportunities while repelling circumstances that don't match their expected reality. This brings us to one of Florence Scovel Shinn's most powerful teachings. Your word is your wand. Every syllable that leaves your lips carries creative power, planting seeds in the fertile soil of universal consciousness. When you casually remark, I can never afford what I really want, or money slips through my fingers, or I'm always broke, you're not merely describing your current circumstances. You're actively programming your financial future. Your words aren't just reflections of your thoughts, they're architects of your reality. The universe doesn't differentiate between observations and commands. It simply takes your spoken word as an instruction and begins arranging circumstances to match it. This is the hidden mechanism behind why some people seem perpetually stuck in financial quicksand despite their best efforts to climb out. The transformational journey begins when you recognize the immense creative power you wield through your everyday speech. The phrases you repeat about money aren't innocent observations. They're powerful incantations shaping your financial destiny. Each complaint about bills, each defeated sigh about your bank balance, each casual reference to being bad with money is a spell you cast upon your own future. Subscribe now to transform your financial reality through these timeless prosperity principles. When you join our channel, you're not just watching videos, you're connecting with a community that's mastering the art of conscious abundance. The good news in this revelation is that you can immediately begin redirecting this creative power. You can consciously choose words that summon abundance rather than repel it. This isn't about denying your current reality or engaging in empty, positive thinking. It's about speaking with the authority of someone who understands the causal relationship between word and manifestation. But mastering the law of word requires more than just changing your vocabulary. It demands a fundamental shift in how you perceive the relationship between your inner and outer worlds. And this brings us to the transformative power of a specific technique Florence Scovel Shinn shared with her students. A method for charging your words with manifestation. Power. If you've ever noticed how your words seem to create your reality, type, "My words create my wealth," in the comments below. This transformative technique begins with a simple but profound shift in how you use language. Rather than describing your financial circumstances as they currently appear, you begin to prescribe what you choose to experience instead. Most people function as financial weather reporters, simply narrating the conditions they observe. Bills are piling up. I never have. Enough. I can't afford that. But those who master the law of word become financial commanders, issuing clear directives to universal intelligence. Florence Scovel Shinn gave her students specific declarations designed to reprogram their financial blueprint. My supply is abundant. Money flows to me freely under grace in perfect ways. Notice how this statement doesn't argue with current reality or engage in empty wishful thinking. Instead, it calmly establishes a new pattern in consciousness, from which external circumstances must eventually rearrange themselves. This revelation completely transforms your relationship with language. Your words are no longer passive commentaries about what is. They become active architects of what will be. This is the hidden mechanism behind why affirmations work when properly understood and applied. You're not trying to convince yourself of something untrue. You're establishing a new vibrational frequency that the universe must eventually match. The mindset shift required here is profound. Most people believe they must see evidence before they can speak positively about their finances. The spiritual master understands that speaking with authority creates the pathway through which evidence can appear. This reversal, speaking first, seeing later, represents the crucial breakthrough that separates those who experience occasional financial luck from those who generate consistent abundance. In practice, this means becoming extraordinarily conscious of your daily financial vocabulary. When you catch yourself saying, "I can't afford that," you immediately replace it with, "I'm choosing to direct my money elsewhere right now." When bills arrive, rather than groaning about expenses, you might say, "I'm grateful for the services I receive and for my ability to pay for them." When faced with an unexpected cost, instead of declaring disaster, you affirm, "Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways." The power in this approach isn't positive thinking. It's the recognition that consciousness is causal. Your inner world creates your outer experience, not the other way around. By deliberately choosing words that align with abundance rather than scarcity, you're not denying reality. You're exercising your divine right to select which version of reality you prefer to experience. This journey of transformation through conscious language leads naturally to understanding another crucial aspect of financial manifestation: the specific power contained in 3 simple words that, when spoken with conviction, can rewrite your entire financial story overnight. If you're ready to transform your financial vocabulary from this moment forward, type "I speak abundance into existence" in the comments below. These 3 simple words hold more manifestation power than most complex financial strategies. It's already mine. When spoken with genuine belief, this declaration performs a kind of spiritual time travel, collapsing the perceived gap between desire and fulfillment. It's not wishful thinking. It's a profound recognition of how reality actually works at the quantum level, where everything exists in potential before it emerges into physical form. When you declare, "It's already mine," about financial abundance, you're not lying to yourself. You're acknowledging a deeper truth that transcends your current visible circumstances. You're recognizing that on the unseen planes of creation, your abundance already exists in completed form. This shift in perspective creates an energetic bridge that allows physical manifestation to flow more readily into your experience. This declaration works because it aligns your consciousness with the natural order of creation. In the universal blueprint, having always precedes seeing, not the other way around. Most people operate in reverse, waiting to see evidence before they'll believe in their abundance. But masters of manifestation understand that genuine belief must come first, creating the channel through which physical evidence can then appear. The power of this declaration multiplies exponentially when you move beyond merely thinking or speaking it to actually writing it down. There's a mysterious alchemy that happens when you physically inscribe your declarations. The act of writing engages multiple senses: touch, sight, and proprioception, creating neural pathways that bypass conscious resistance and speak directly to your subconscious mind. When you write, it's already mine. By hand, you're not just recording a thought, you're performing a sacred ritual that tells your entire nervous system, this is law now. The physical act of writing activates parts of your brain that remain dormant during passive reading or listening. This multisensory engagement helps your declaration root more deeply in the fertile soil of your subconscious, where all manifestation begins. Ancient wisdom traditions have long recognized this principle. From Egyptian hieroglyphs carved in stone to Hebrew prayers written on parchment, the act of writing has always been understood as a method for making the invisible visible, for bringing divine potential into earthly form. Modern neuroscience confirms what mystics have always known. Writing by hand creates unique neural connections that transform abstract concepts into embodied understanding. This revelation illuminates why journaling about financial goals, writing affirmations daily, or even commenting your declarations online can accelerate your manifestation journey. Each written word doesn't just express your intention, it imprints it onto the quantum field that orchestrates all physical reality. Your written declarations become energetic signatures that attract corresponding experiences with magnetic precision. Understanding this principle naturally leads us to explore an often misunderstood aspect of financial manifestation: why casual, occasional affirmations rarely produce significant results, while consistent declaration creates unstoppable momentum in your financial world. If you're ready to claim your abundance right now, type "It's already mine" in the comments below. The breakthrough that transforms casual manifestation attempts into powerful reality-shaping forces lies in understanding this hidden truth. Spiritual law doesn't bow to occasional whispers. It responds to consistent declarations made with unwavering conviction. This explains why so many people try affirmations for a day or two, see no immediate results, and abandon the practice, concluding that it doesn't work. They've misunderstood the fundamental nature of universal law. Think of spiritual principles like gravity, consistent, unwavering, and responsive only to sufficient opposing force applied with regularity. A single jump doesn't free you from gravity's pull, but the consistent application of lift allows an airplane to soar. In the same way, a single day's affirmation rarely overcomes years of negative financial programming. The decisive factor is never the initial declaration, but the persistent cultivation of a new, vibrational standard. Florence Scovel Shinn recognized this principle when she taught her students that spiritual demonstration requires the development of constancy. Your financial breakthrough doesn't require louder affirmations or more emotional declarations. It requires consistent ones, spoken with the quiet authority of someone who understands how universal law operates. This steadfastness signals to the universe that you're serious about your new financial identity, not just flirting with it temporarily. This revelation illuminates a powerful metaphor that can forever transform your relationship with words. Most people use their mouth like a thermometer, simply reporting the financial temperature they observe. Things are tight this month. I never have enough. I'm drowning in debt. But masters of manifestation use their mouth like a thermostat, a device that doesn't just report conditions, but actually sets them. A thermostat doesn't say, "It's cold in here," and leave it at that. It says, "The temperature will be 72 degrees," and then the heating system works tirelessly until the environment matches that declaration. Your words function the same way when you understand their creative power. They don't just describe your financial reality, they prescribe it, setting the conditions that your life experience must eventually match. This shift from thermometer thinking to thermostat thinking represents a quantum leap in your manifestation journey. When you catch yourself making thermometer statements about money, gently but firmly redirect to thermostat declarations instead. Rather than reporting, "I never have enough to cover all my bills," you might declare, "My income consistently exceeds my expenses." Instead of observing, "I always struggle financially," you might set the thermostat to, "Money comes to me easily and frequently." This isn't about denying current circumstances or engaging in magical thinking. It's about understanding the causal relationship between consciousness and experience. Your thermostat declarations aren't describing what is. They're establishing the energetic blueprint for what must be, according to spiritual law. This subtle but profound distinction holds the key to why some people manifest with seemingly effortless precision, while others struggle despite their best efforts. Understanding the thermostat principle naturally leads us to explore an often overlooked aspect of financial manifestation: the invisible frequency carried by every word you speak, a frequency that the law responds to with mathematical precision. If this thermostat concept has shifted your perspective on how your words create your reality, type "I am the thermostat" in the comments below. Every word that leaves your lips carries a specific vibrational frequency, an energetic signature that the universe detects and responds to with flawless precision. This isn't metaphorical. Quantum physics has demonstrated that all matter, including the sounds we make when speaking, exists fundamentally as vibration. When you understand this principle, you begin to recognize that casual, seemingly innocent phrases about money are actually powerful broadcast signals that the universe faithfully mirrors back to you. Consider the commonly used phrase, "I can't afford that." Most people think this statement is simply factual, a neutral observation about their current financial situation. But on an energetic level, this declaration sends a powerful frequency of lack into the universe, which then orchestrates circumstances that continue to validate your inability to afford whatever you desire. The universe doesn't judge your words as positive or negative. It simply detects the frequency and returns matching experiences with mathematical precision. This revelation transforms how you navigate everyday conversations about money. When you catch yourself about to say, "I can't afford that," you might instead declare, "I'm choosing to direct my money elsewhere right now," or "That's not my financial priority at this moment." These alternatives maintain your power of choice without broadcasting lack. Similarly, replacing "I'm broke" with "I'm in a temporary state of financial reorganization" shifts the energetic signature from permanent scarcity to temporary transition. The enlightening journey of financial transformation naturally leads us to another spiritual principle that most financial advisors never discuss: the law of circulation. This universal law reveals why money itself can be understood as spirit in motion, an energy that must flow freely to fulfill its divine purpose in your life. Money, by its very nature, is not meant to be hoarded, clutched, or hidden away in fear. It's designed to circulate, to move through your life in a continuous dance of giving and receiving. This profound insight explains why some people who grip their money with white knuckles and fearful hearts often find it slipping through their fingers anyway, while others who circulate it generously and confidently seem to attract more with remarkable ease. When you hoard money from a place of fear, afraid there won't be enough, worried about future lack, you actually block the very flow that would bring more abundance into your experience. Think of money like water in a river, water that flows, remains fresh, clean, and life-giving. But water that stagnates becomes toxic and unable to support life. Your money operates according to the same spiritual principle. When you allow it to flow, spending it wisely, investing it confidently, sharing it generously, you keep the channel open for more to return. This doesn't mean reckless spending or unwise financial decisions. It means releasing the energetic grip of fear that constricts the natural circulation of abundance in your life. The law of circulation reveals why some of the wealthiest, most financially abundant people are often the most generous. They understand, either consciously or intuitively, that money must circulate to multiply. Their generosity isn't just morally admirable, it's financially intelligent, aligning their actions with a fundamental spiritual law that governs prosperity. Understanding this principle opens the door to exploring how every financial transaction in your life, from paying bills to making purchases, can become a powerful spiritual broadcast that programs your future relationship with money. If you're ready to allow money to flow freely in your life without fear, type "I embrace the circulation of abundance" in the comments below. Florence Scovel Shinn captured this profound principle in one of her most illuminating teachings. What you hold in fear shrinks. What you release in faith multiplies. This spiritual axiom reveals the hidden mechanism behind why clutching money tightly often leads to its mysterious disappearance, while circulating it with confident faith creates an almost magnetic pull for more to flow back to you. This isn't mystical thinking. It's a practical application of universal law that governs all energy, including financial energy. When you hold money in fear, afraid to spend it, worried about running out, anxious about the future, you create a constricting energy around your finances that literally repels further abundance. Your fear broadcasts a signal of not enough to the universe, which faithfully mirrors that frequency back to you through your experiences. But when you release money with faith, confident in its return, trusting in continuous supply, grateful for its service, you create an expansive energy that naturally attracts more. This revelation explains why two people can make identical financial decisions with dramatically different outcomes. The person who invests with fear often watches their investment shrink, while the person who invests with faith tends to see multiplication. The external action may look identical, but the internal broadcast, the energetic signature accompanying the transaction, creates vastly different ripples in the field of infinite potential that surrounds us. The breakthrough that transforms your entire financial experience comes with understanding that every single transaction in your life, from paying rent to buying coffee to donating to charity, is not just an economic exchange, but a spiritual broadcast, a silent instruction to universal law about how you expect money to treat you in the future. Most people remain completely unaware of this hidden dimension of their financial life, wondering why their circumstances never seem to improve despite their best efforts. When you pay a bill with resentment, silently cursing the amount or feeling deprived, you're not just transferring currency, you're programming your financial future with the energetic equivalent of money leaving. Feels painful and creates lack. But when you pay that same bill with gratitude for the services received and confidence in money's return, you reprogram the pattern to money circulates through my life with ease, always replenished. This awareness transforms mundane financial moments into powerful manifestation opportunities. The energy with which you hand over your credit card, the thoughts running through your mind as you check your bank balance, the feelings in your body as you make a purchase, all of these previously unconscious elements become conscious choices that shape your prosperity timeline. Imagine the cumulative impact of reprogramming hundreds of financial transactions each month from fear-based to faith-based. Each shift might seem small in isolation, but together they create a complete transformation in your financial vibration. This isn't about pretending to feel differently than you do. It's about genuinely shifting your perspective to align with spiritual truth rather than temporary appearance. Understanding this principle naturally leads us to explore a powerful daily practice that can immediately begin reprogramming your relationship with money during every transaction, creating an unstoppable momentum of abundance in your life. If you've noticed how your attitude during financial transactions affects your experience with money, type I transmit abundance in every transaction in the comments below. This transformative daily practice is breathtakingly simple yet profound in its impact. Begin blessing your money as it leaves you, literally speaking words of gratitude and expectation over every transaction. When you pay a bill, make a purchase, or give to others, silently declare phrases like, "More where that came from," or "This returns to me multiplied." These aren't magic spells or superstitious rituals. They're conscious reprogramming of the energetic signature that accompanies your money as it flows from you. This practice works because it fundamentally shifts your relationship with outgoing money from one of loss to one of circulation. Most people experience a subtle contraction when money leaves their possession, a fleeting sense of less than before that imprints on their financial energy field. But when you bless money as it departs, you override that automatic response with a conscious choice to see the transaction as part of a continuous flow rather than a depletion. The revelation here is that simple. Affirmations during ordinary financial moments don't just change your thinking, they actually rewire your nervous system's response to money movement. Your brain creates neural pathways based on repeated patterns. When you consistently pair the act of spending with positive expectation rather than subtle fear, you literally create new neural networks that make prosperity consciousness your default state rather than an occasional visitor. Try this experiment for just 1 week. Each time you spend money, whether paying for coffee, handling bills, or making a major purchase, pause for a breath and silently say, "Thank you for your service. More returns to me now." Notice how this tiny ritual begins to dissolve the unconscious tension that typically accompanies spending. Watch how your relationship with transactions shifts from resistance to flow. The deeper wisdom in this practice reveals that circulation is ultimately about trust, not in the limited supply you can see, but in the infinite source that you cannot see. When you circulate money freely, confidently, and with blessing, you demonstrate faith in abundance as your natural state. You're declaring to the universe, "I trust that the well is bottomless. I trust that my supply comes from an infinite source, not a finite reservoir." This shift from trusting the visible supply to trusting the invisible source represents a quantum leap in prosperity consciousness. Most people make financial decisions based solely on what they can see in their accounts, the supply. But true financial masters base their decisions on their connection to the infinite source of all abundance. They understand that the visible supply is merely the current manifestation of an endless flow that responds to consciousness. When you bless money as it leaves you, you're not engaging in wishful thinking or denying mathematical reality. You're aligning your energy with a spiritual truth that transcends appearance, the truth that circulation with trust activates the law of increase in your life. Every blessed transaction becomes a declaration of your faith in the abundance of the universe rather than a fearful calculation based on limitation. This profound understanding of circulation naturally leads us to explore the hidden power of gratitude, the spiritual catalyst that can instantly transform your financial vibration and accelerate the flow of abundance into your experience. If you're ready to start blessing your money as it flows from you, type, "I bless my money in circulation," in the comments below. Gratitude emerges as the invisible catalyst that seals the circulation process, ensuring that money not only returns to you, but does so multiplied. This revelation transforms the mundane act of spending into a sacred ritual of reciprocity. When you consciously thank money for its service in your life, expressing genuine appreciation for what it has provided and gratitude for its inevitable return, you elevate an ordinary transaction into a spiritual exchange resonating at a much higher frequency. This practice might initially feel strange, especially if you've been conditioned to view money as merely a numeric value rather than an energy deserving of acknowledgement. Try this transformational exercise. The next time you pay for something, silently or softly say, "Thank you for your service. I bless you as you go to serve others. I know you return to me multiplied." This simple moment of recognition creates an energetic signature around your money that programs its return through channels you might not even imagine yet. What makes gratitude so potent is its unique vibrational signature. Neuroscience research reveals that genuine gratitude activates neural pathways associated with reward, creating a positive feedback loop in your brain. When you consistently pair financial transactions with authentic gratitude, you literally rewire your nervous system to associate money movement with pleasure rather than pain, abundance rather than loss. This internal shift radiates outward, influencing how the universal field responds to your financial energy. The true awakening comes when you realize these principles aren't just theoretical concepts for occasional contemplation. They're practical tools meant for consistent application in everyday life. The power of these teachings transcends mere words and thoughts, gradually reshaping your entire financial ecosystem through faithful practice. Your wallet, your spending choices, your generosity, even your investment decisions all begin to align with the abundant consciousness you're cultivating. Most seekers encounter spiritual financial principles as interesting ideas but fail to implement them with the consistency required for genuine transformation. The masters understand that occasional practice yields occasional results, while consistent application creates a complete paradigm shift. Your prosperity consciousness isn't built through sporadic affirmations or momentary high-vibe feelings. It's constructed through hundreds of small, conscious choices made daily in ordinary financial moments. Imagine the cumulative impact of blessing and expressing gratitude over every dollar that passes through your life for an entire month. Each transaction becomes a brick in the foundation of your new financial identity. Each moment of conscious circulation strengthens your prosperity muscles. Each expression of gratitude deepens your trust in the invisible source rather than the visible supply. This isn't just about changing your thoughts. It's about rewiring your entire relationship with the energy we call money. Understanding these fundamental principles of conscious circulation naturally leads us to explore an even deeper dimension of financial manifestation: the spiritual bridge between what you declare and what manifests in your physical reality. If you've begun implementing gratitude in your financial transactions and noticed a shift, in your experience, type "Gratitude transforms my money energy" in the comments below. This spiritual bridge, the invisible causeway between your desire and its physical manifestation, is what Florence Scovel Shinn called the law of assumption. In her timeless wisdom, she revealed that to manifest anything, you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This profound principle doesn't just apply to money, it governs all manifestation, but its application to finances can create nothing short of a complete transformation in your material world. Most people approach financial improvement from a stance of wanting, hoping, or worse, begging the universe to change their circumstances. They plead with their boss for a raise, hope for an unexpected windfall, or wish for economic conditions to improve. This orientation, this emotional posture of looking outside yourself for financial salvation, places you in the energetic position of supplicant rather than creator. It broadcasts a frequency of lack that the universe can only mirror back to you through continued financial struggle. The revolutionary shift occurs when you stop begging the world to change and start declaring your reality instead. This isn't arrogance or delusion. It's alignment with how creation actually functions. When you assume the feeling of already being financially abundant, when you walk, talk, think, and most importantly feel as if your desired prosperity is already accomplished, you flip the spiritual order. You become the master of your reality rather than its servant. This reversal of the typical manifestation approach explains why some people seem to effortlessly attract financial opportunities, while others work themselves to exhaustion with little improvement. The difference isn't luck or privilege. It's the internal stance from which they operate. Those who manifest with ease have learned, either consciously or intuitively, to assume the state of having before they see physical evidence. Think about how differently you move through the world when you feel financially secure versus financially stressed. Your posture changes, your breathing shifts, your decision-making transforms, your relationship with others evolves. When you assume the feeling of financial abundance, truly embody it rather than just thinking about it, these subtle shifts in your being broadcast a completely different frequency that the universe must respond to according to spiritual law. This journey of assumption isn't about pretending or engaging in wishful thinking. It's about recognizing a deeper truth, that creation is already complete on the spiritual plane before it manifests on the physical plane. Your assumption simply aligns you with what already exists in potential, allowing it to flow into your tangible experience through the path of least resistance. The practical application of this principle might look like walking into a store with the quiet confidence of someone who can afford anything they truly desire, rather than the subtle constriction of someone constantly calculating what they can afford. It might mean checking your bank account with calm expectancy rather than anxious dread. It might mean making financial decisions from a place of abundance consciousness rather than scarcity consciousness, even when the numbers haven't caught up yet with your internal shift. Understanding this principle of assumption naturally leads us to explore the crucial distinction between chasing money like prey versus summoning it like royalty, a paradigm shift that forever transforms your relationship with financial abundance. If you've experienced the power of assumption in your own life, type, "I assume abundance now," in the comments below. This powerful revelation transforms your entire approach to wealth creation. Most people relate to money as if they're hunters pursuing elusive prey, chasing after it, strategizing how to capture it, feeling deflated when it escapes their grasp. They hustle harder, work longer hours, constantly scheme about how to get more, approaching abundance from a position of separation and lack. This orientation creates a fundamental energetic misalignment that actually repels the very prosperity they seek. The paradigm shift occurs when you realize that your relationship with money should mirror that of royalty to gold. A king or queen doesn't chase after gold, they simply summon it, expecting it to arrive as a natural expression of their sovereign identity. They don't beg, plead, or strategize about getting gold. They command its presence through the quiet authority of who they are, not through desperate action or manipulation. This regal orientation, this profound energetic shift from pursuer to summoner, changes everything about how money responds to you. When you approach wealth creation from sovereignty rather than scarcity, you broadcast a completely different frequency into the universal field. You're no longer saying, "I need money, please come to me." You're simply declaring, "I am the one to whom abundance naturally flows," and then living from that internal knowing. The mystical revelation behind this shift is that creation is already finished in the unseen realms before it ever appears in your physical experience. Your financial abundance already exists in complete form on the spiritual plane, not as a future possibility, but as a present reality that simply hasn't yet been made visible to your physical senses. This understanding revolutionizes how you relate to manifestation. Most people believe they must see it to believe it, that evidence must come first, followed by belief. But masters of manifestation understand the opposite is true. You must believe it to see it. The invisible always precedes the visible in the natural order of creation. This is why Florence Scovel Shinn emphasized that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith isn't blind belief despite lack of evidence. It's spiritual perception that recognizes what already exists in substance before it appears in form. When you truly comprehend that your financial abundance is already complete on the invisible plane, waiting only for your alignment to make it visible, your entire approach transforms. You stop working to create wealth and begin working to reveal wealth. You recognize that your job isn't to make money appear out of nothing, but to align your consciousness with the abundance that already exists in finished form, allowing it to flow into your physical experience through the path of least resistance. Think about how differently you would move through your day if you knew with absolute certainty that your financial abundance was already a done deal, simply waiting for your consciousness to align with it? How would you walk? How would you talk? How would your decisions change? How would your energy shift? These subtle but powerful adjustments in your being become the bridge that allows invisible abundance to become visible prosperity. Understanding this principle of finished creation naturally leads us to explore how your day-to-day embodiment of prosperous consciousness becomes the doorway through which abundance enters your physical experience. If this revelation about finished creation has shifted your perspective, type "My abundance already exists" in the comments below. This embodiment, this day-to-day living from the state of abundance, creates a profound shift in how you experience even the most common interactions. Consider what happens when you encounter wealthy, successful people. Most individuals immediately feel a subtle contraction in their presence, a feeling of being less than or intimidated, perhaps even resentful. This reaction seems natural, but it reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of what these successful people truly represent in your journey. The transformational insight is recognizing that wealthy individuals are not your competition or your superiors. They are living mirrors reflecting back to you the version of yourself that already exists in consciousness as wealthy and abundant. When you encounter someone who embodies financial freedom, instead of shrinking into comparison, you can silently acknowledge, "Thank you for showing me what's possible. You are reflecting my own abundance back to me." This perspective shift eliminates the energetic barrier between you and prosperity. It transforms encounters with successful people from triggers of lack into confirmations of your own potential. Each wealthy person you meet becomes not a reminder of what you don't have, but a physical representation of the version of you that already exists in the quantum field. The you that has already achieved that level of abundance and is simply waiting for your consciousness to align with it. This revelation illuminates the hidden architecture of your financial reality, the blueprint that determines your actual experiences with money in the physical world. Your assumptions, the beliefs you hold without questioning, the expectations you carry without examining, literally run your entire financial ecosystem. Most people operate on unconscious assumptions installed during childhood or absorbed from society, never realizing these invisible forces are creating their money experiences on autopilot. Just as negative assumptions created financial struggle, beliefs like money is hard to come by or wealth is for other people, not me. Positive assumptions can create prosperity when deliberately chosen and consistently held. This isn't magical thinking. It's working with the causal nature of consciousness. When you become aware that your assumptions are creating your financial reality, you can begin the revolutionary practice of making them conscious choices rather than unconscious defaults. This journey of transformation requires brutal honesty about what you've been assuming about money without even realizing it. What expectations do you automatically hold when you check your bank account? What do you presume will happen when a financial opportunity arises? What do you believe about your ability to create and maintain wealth? These hidden assumptions form the energetic template that your external circumstances must follow according to spiritual law. The liberation comes when you recognize you can choose different assumptions. You can deliberately select the beliefs, expectations, and presumptions that will shape your financial future. This isn't about forcing yourself to believe something against your will. It's about recognizing which assumptions serve your highest good and consciously reinforcing them until they become your new default setting. Understanding the power of conscious assumption naturally leads us to explore how you can begin living from the end result rather than struggling toward it. A profound shift in orientation that changes everything about your manifestation journey. If you're ready to examine and transform your financial assumptions, type "I choose my assumptions consciously" in the comments below. This orientation shift, from living toward your desired financial state to living from it, represents the quantum leap in your manifestation journey. Most people organize their entire lives around pursuing wealth as if it were a distant destination they must struggle toward. They tell themselves, Once I achieve financial freedom, then I feel peaceful about money. Or, after I reach my income goals, then I'll begin enjoying life. This approach creates a perpetual state of separation between you and your desires, guaranteeing that abundance always remains just out of reach. The revolutionary practice is to reverse this equation completely. Rather than waiting to feel wealthy until after you see external evidence, you begin each day by embodying the feeling of being financially abundant now, before any physical circumstances have changed. You wake up and move through your morning as if your desired prosperity were already your reality. You make decisions, speak to others, and relate to opportunities from this embodied state of abundance rather than from lack-seeking fulfillment. Imagine for a moment, how would you breathe if financial worry were completely absent from your life? How would your shoulders rest if money anxiety no longer lived in your body? How would you walk into a store, check your messages, or greet a potential client if you were already the financially abundant person you desire to be? These subtle but profound shifts in your being aren't just psychological tricks. They're energetic realignments that allow your physical reality to reorganize around your new state. A crucial distinction must be understood here. This practice is not about pretending or engaging in fantasy. There's a world of difference between pretending to be wealthy and engaging in the spiritual practice of faith. Pretending is consciously acting a part while knowing it isn't real. Faith is recognizing a deeper truth beyond current appearances and aligning with that truth despite what your physical senses report. One is play acting. The other is living from spiritual perception that transcends material evidence. This distinction explains why some people try visualization or affirmations and dismiss them as fake it till you make it, techniques that don't work. They're approaching the practice as pretense rather than as faith-filled alignment with what already exists in consciousness. When you genuinely inhabit the state of being financially abundant, not as an act or performance, but as a recognition of spiritual truth, you create an energetic coherence that literally bends reality to match your internal state. The mystics and spiritual masters throughout history have understood this principle. All things are possible to him who believes wasn't just poetic language. It was a precise description of how consciousness shapes reality. Your faith, your ability to live from the end result rather than toward it, creates the bridge that allows invisible abundance to cross over into visible manifestation in your physical experience. This revelation about embodied faith naturally leads us to explore why certain people can lose everything financially and rebuild faster than before, while others remain stuck in scarcity consciousness despite their best efforts. If you're ready to start living from your desired financial state rather than struggling toward it, type "I live from abundance now" in the comments below. This perspective reversal represents one of the most liberating breakthroughs on your prosperity journey. Most people live with the unconscious belief that they're waiting on money, waiting for that promotion, waiting for that investment to pay off, waiting for economic conditions to improve, waiting for their business to take off. This orientation places you in a perpetual state of suspension, constantly at the mercy of external circumstances that seem beyond your control. The empowering truth is exactly the opposite. You're not waiting on money. Money is waiting on your assumption. This isn't metaphorical. It's a precise description of how manifestation functions at the energetic level. The abundant financial reality you desire already exists in complete form on the spiritual plane. It isn't being created. It's waiting to be claimed through your assumption of it as present fact rather than future possibility. This revelation completely transforms your relationship with financial creation. It puts you squarely in the driver's seat of your prosperity journey, recognizing that the critical variable has never been external circumstances but your internal state. The universe isn't withholding abundance until you work hard enough, sacrifice enough, or get lucky enough. It's simply waiting for your consciousness to align with what already exists in potential, allowing that potential to flow into physical expression. The profound truth about assumption that most people miss is that it's not about effort, but authority, not about hoping, but becoming. Most seekers approach manifestation as if it requires tremendous strain or force of will, pushing, struggling, and exhausting themselves trying to make things happen through sheer determination. But genuine assumption isn't effortful at all. It's the calm, quiet claiming of what is already yours by divine right. When a king or queen sits on their throne, they don't strain to be royal. They don't hope to be recognized as the sovereign. They simply embody their position with quiet authority, knowing it is already established fact. This is the energy of true assumption, not the desperate energy of someone trying to convince themselves of something they don't quite believe, but the peaceful resonance of someone recognizing what has always been true. This distinction explains why some people seem to manifest with such ease while others struggle despite following the same techniques. Those who manifest effortlessly have grasped that assumption isn't about forcing yourself to believe something against your will. It's about recognizing and claiming your spiritual birthright to abundance with the same natural authority with which you claim your name. The revolutionary insight is that assumption is actually a state of being, not a technique or method. It's who you are, not what you do. When you truly understand this, manifestation ceases to be something you perform and becomes something you embody. You don't have to strain or struggle to assume abundance. You simply need to recognize and claim the truth of your divine nature, which includes unlimited access to all the prosperity you could ever desire. This profound understanding of effortless assumption naturally leads us to explore why the law of attraction is so widely misunderstood, and why wanting abundance often creates exactly the opposite of what you desire. If you've experienced the shift from effortful striving to calm assumption in your own life, type "I claim my abundance with authority" in the comments below. The law of attraction has been widely popularized yet profoundly misunderstood, creating confusion that actually blocks the very abundance most seekers desire. The fundamental misconception lies in believing that strong desire, intense wanting, is the engine of attraction. This misunderstanding has led countless people to focus on amplifying their wants, visualizing with desperate intensity, and emotionally yearning for financial improvement, only to find themselves stuck in an endless cycle of unfulfilled desires. The revelation that transforms your entire manifestation journey is this: wanting doesn't attract abundance. It actually repels it. This isn't because the universe is cruel or because the law of attraction doesn't work. It's because the energy of wanting broadcasts a very specific frequency into the universal field, the frequency of absence, of not having, of separation from your desire. Since the universe responds with mathematical precision to the energy you emit, it faithfully mirrors back that exact state of separation, creating more experiences of wanting but not having. Think about the vibrational signature contained within statements like, "I want more money," or "I want financial freedom." Hidden within these seemingly positive declarations is the unconscious broadcast of "I don't have enough money," or "I don't have financial freedom." The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to the energetic frequency those words create in your being. And the frequency of wanting is always the frequency of lack. Florence Scovel Shinn captured this profound truth when she taught, "You attract not what you want, but what you are." This revolutionary insight shifts your entire focus from outer desires to inner state. Your magnetic power doesn't come from what you desire. It comes from who you are being right now, in this moment. Your state of consciousness, your self-concept, your assumptions about your place in the world, your embodied energy, creates the attractor field that either draws abundance toward you or repels it away from you. This understanding illuminates why visualization techniques often fail despite dedicated practice. Many people visualize financial abundance while vibrationally remaining the person who lacks it. Their self-concept, their inner identity, remains unchanged, still centered in scarcity, despite their mental pictures of prosperity. Since you can only attract what matches your being, No amount of visualization can overcome an unchanged self-concept. The transformation occurs when you shift from trying to attract what you want to embodying what you wish to experience. Rather than focusing on wanting wealth, you focus on being wealthy in consciousness right now. Rather than yearning for financial freedom, you assume the identity of someone who is already financially free. This isn't delusion or self-deception. It's aligning with the causal nature of consciousness that creates all physical manifestation. Consider how differently you might approach a financial decision, a business opportunity, or even a simple purchase when operating from the state of being wealthy versus the state of wanting wealth. The energy would be completely different. Calm confidence versus anxious hope, peaceful certainty versus desperate longing. And according to the law of attraction, these distinct energetic signatures must attract correspondingly different experiences into your life. Understanding this principle naturally leads us to explore the invisible equation that determines your financial vibration. The combined frequency created by your thoughts, words, and feelings about money that acts as your primary attractor field in the realm of prosperity. If you've noticed how wanting something intensely often keeps it just out of reach, type "being is more powerful than wanting" in the comments below. This invisible equation, this vibrational mathematics that determines what you attract financially, goes far deeper than most manifestation teachings acknowledge. Your financial frequency isn't created by your conscious thoughts alone or by your spoken affirmations in isolation. It's the combined energy of everything you think, say, and feel about money, all working together to broadcast a specific signal that the universe then mirrors back to you with perfect precision. This revelation explains why someone might repeat positive affirmations about wealth while still attracting financial struggle. Their conscious thoughts might be aligned with abundance, but if their unconscious beliefs contradict those thoughts, or if their emotions remain rooted in scarcity despite their words, the resulting frequency remains mixed at best. The universe doesn't respond to your positive affirmations or visualizations alone. It responds to the total vibrational package you're broadcasting. Think of it as an energetic fingerprint that's completely unique to you. Your habitual thoughts about money, both conscious and unconscious, combine with the words you regularly speak about finances and the emotions you consistently feel when dealing with money matters. This three-dimensional frequency creates your prosperity blueprint, the invisible template that your physical financial experiences must follow according to spiritual law. This understanding illuminates why quick-fix approaches to manifestation often fail. You can't change a lifetime of financial programming with a weekend seminar or a few days of positive thinking. True transformation requires alignment across all three dimensions of your being: mental, verbal, and emotional. When your thoughts, words, and feelings about money all resonate with the same abundant frequency, you create a coherent signal so powerful that your external reality has no choice but to reorganize around it. The revolutionary insight that emerges from this understanding completely transforms your approach to wealth creation. You don't chase money, you become money. This isn't metaphorical. It's the literal mechanism through which lasting prosperity manifests in your life. Instead of pursuing financial abundance as if it were something separate from you that must be captured or achieved, you recognize that abundance is a state of being that you can embody right now. Most people spend their entire lives in pursuit mode, strategizing, struggling, and straining to reach a financial destination that always seems to remain just beyond their grasp. But masters of manifestation understand that chasing creates the very separation it seeks to overcome. The moment you begin pursuing money, you energetically establish the fact that you don't have it, that it's out there while you're in here, reinforcing the very lack you're trying to transcend. The alternative isn't passive inaction, it's active embodiment. You stop chasing wealth and start radiating the frequency of abundance from within your being. You cultivate the thoughts, speak the words, and generate the feelings of someone who is already wealthy in consciousness. This alignment creates a magnetic field so powerful that opportunities, resources, and abundance naturally gravitate towards you without the desperate energy of pursuit. Understanding this principle of embodiment naturally leads us to explore the practical process of feeling it real, the experiential technique that transforms intellectual understanding into embodied manifestation power. If you've begun to shift from chasing wealth to embodying it, type, "I am the frequency of abundance" in the comments below. This experiential technique, feeling it real, transcends intellectual understanding to activate the true manifestation mechanism. Florence Scovel Shinn emphasized that it wasn't enough to think about your desired state or to speak it with your lips. You must actually feel the reality of it in your body, in your emotions, in the depths of your being. When your internal vibration genuinely matches the state you desire to experience externally, reality has no choice but to reorganize itself around your new frequency. This revelation explains why some people can diligently practice visualization, affirmation, and other manifestation techniques for years without significant results. They're engaging with these practices, intellectually or verbally, but not allowing the feeling of their desired state to permeate their entire being. The universe doesn't respond to what you think about abundance or what you say about it. It responds to the feeling frequency you emit when engaging with the concept of wealth. The transformational practice begins with allowing yourself to genuinely feel what it would be like to already have the financial abundance you desire. Close your eyes and let yourself sink into the embodied experience of freedom, security, generosity, and peace that financial abundance would bring. Notice how your breathing changes, how your posture shifts, how tension melts from your shoulders, how your decision-making transforms when you truly feel wealthy in your nervous system rather than just thinking about wealth in your mind. This isn't about manufacturing artificial emotions or forcing yourself to feel something you don't. It's about removing the blocks to feeling what is already your natural state of abundance. When you strip away the layers of conditioning that have convinced you of limitation, the feeling of abundance emerges naturally, not as something foreign to be achieved, but as your authentic nature to be remembered. As your vibration genuinely aligns with the frequency of abundance, something remarkable happens. Your actions, words, and choices begin to naturally harmonize with this new state without effort or strain. You don't have to force yourself to make wealthy decisions or to speak abundant words. These expressions flow organically from your new state of being. External reality then begins to mirror this internal alignment, bringing opportunities, resources, and circumstances that match your embodied prosperity consciousness. Yet despite understanding these principles intellectually, many seekers find themselves hitting an invisible ceiling in their manifestation journey. They apply techniques diligently, practice visualizations regularly, speak affirmations consistently, but their financial reality remains stubbornly unchanged. The hidden truth behind this frustration reveals perhaps the most crucial principle of all. You cannot rise higher than your self-concept. If your core identity, your fundamental sense of who you are, remains anchored in the self-concept of struggler, survivor, or someone who never quite makes it, the universe must faithfully mirror that identity regardless of what techniques you apply on the surface. Your conscious efforts to manifest abundance will be constantly undermined by the unconscious broadcast of your self-concept, creating the experience of taking 2 steps forward and 2 steps back in your financial journey. This explains why some people can lose everything and rebuild their fortunes with remarkable speed, while others remain stuck in financial limitation despite years of hard work and positive thinking. The difference isn't luck or privilege. It's the core self-concept from which they operate. Those who rebuild quickly maintain a self-concept of abundance even when external circumstances temporarily suggest otherwise. Those who remain stuck are often attempting to manifest prosperity from a self-concept fundamentally rooted in scarcity. This revelation invites us to explore the invisible architecture of your identity, the I am statements that form the foundation of your entire financial experience. If you recognize how your self-concept has been limiting your financial Reality, type, I am transforming my financial identity in the comments below. Your I am statements represent the most powerful creative force in your financial universe, far more influential than any strategy, technique, or action plan. These core declarations of identity aren't just descriptions of who you think you are. They're causal commands that shape every aspect of your prosperity journey. Most people remain completely unaware of the I am statements running silently in the background of their consciousness. Yet these hidden declarations determine every dollar, every opportunity, and every financial result they experience. When you silently declare, I am someone who struggles with money, or I am not good with finances, or I am always just getting by, you aren't merely describing your current situation, you're programming the creative mechanism of the universe to continue producing that exact experience. Your I am broadcasts a specific frequency that the law must honor, organizing all circumstances, opportunities, and results to remain in perfect alignment with your declared identity. Florence Scovel Shinn recognized this profound mechanism when she taught that the words following I am create your destiny. The universe doesn't argue with your I am declarations. It simply says, yes, you are, and proceeds to manifest the corresponding reality. This revelation transforms your entire approach to manifestation, shifting your focus from changing external conditions to consciously selecting the I am statements that will shape your financial future. The breakthrough for lasting wealth creation doesn't come from finding the perfect investment or business opportunity. It comes from becoming the kind of person for whom abundance is normal. This identity-level transformation represents the quantum leap in your prosperity consciousness. Instead of trying to attract wealth as something foreign or extraordinary, you embody an identity for whom prosperity feels natural, expected, and completely aligned with who you are at your core. This shift explains why some people seem to attract money effortlessly, while others struggle despite working twice as hard. Those who manifest with ease have internalized abundance as their natural state, not as something to achieve, but as something to express. They don't chase prosperity as an unusual or exceptional condition. They allow it as the normal expression of their authentic identity. The journey to this transformed identity begins with conscious awareness of the I am statements currently operating in your financial reality. What do you silently declare about yourself when you check your bank balance? What identity do you assume when making financial decisions? What core beliefs about your relationship with money have you accepted as just who I am without questioning their origin or validity? Once you've brought these unconscious declarations into the light of awareness, you can begin the revolutionary practice of consciously selecting new I am statements aligned with the prosperity you desire to experience. This isn't about forcing yourself to believe something against your will. It's about recognizing which declarations truly resonate with your highest self and consciously reinforcing them until they become your new default setting. The power of this identity-level transformation goes far beyond temporary changes in behavior or thinking patterns. When you genuinely shift who you are being in relation to money, everything about your financial experience transforms. From how opportunities find you, to how you make decisions, to how resources flow through your life. Understanding this principle of identity-based manifestation naturally leads us to explore the powerful bridge between your inner transformation and your outer prosperity, the guardian at the gate that determines whether your new identity takes root or fades away. If you recognize how your I am statements have been shaping your financial reality, type I am wealth in motion in the comments below. This guardian at the gate, this bridge between inner transformation and outer manifestation, is what Florence Scovel Shinn called the law of obedience. This spiritual principle reveals why some seekers experience fleeting results while others create lasting prosperity. Most people remain unaware that spiritual law is precise, but not pushy. It responds to consistency rather than intensity, to persistent assumption rather than occasional bursts of faith. The law of obedience states that you must maintain your assumption of abundance regardless of what current circumstances appear to show. This isn't blind denial of reality. It's recognition of a deeper truth that transcends temporary appearances. When circumstances contradict your new identity, when bills pile up despite your prosperity consciousness, when opportunities seem to vanish just as you've declared abundance, these moments aren't signs of failure. They're the critical junctures where your new assumption is either established or abandoned. This revelation explains why many manifestation journeys stall or reverse. Most people maintain their new prosperity identity only until the first strong contradiction appears: the unexpected expense, the delayed payment, the apparent setback. At that precise moment of challenge, they abandon their assumption and revert to the old identity, telling themselves, "See, this doesn't work for me," or "I knew this was too good to be true." This surrender to appearance effectively cancels the manifestation process just as it was gaining momentum. The masters understand that these moments of apparent contradiction aren't failures of the law. They're tests of your commitment to your new identity. They recognize that the universe doesn't respond to occasional visits to prosperity consciousness. It responds to taking up permanent residence there. When circumstances seem to contradict your assumption, that's not the moment to abandon ship. It's the moment to stand firm in your new identity with even greater conviction. This steadfastness, this spiritual obedience to your highest self rather than to temporary appearances, creates an unshakable foundation for lasting prosperity. It signals to the universal field that your new identity isn't just a passing whim or a fair-weather commitment, but a genuine transformation that deserves corresponding external change. Your willingness to maintain your assumption despite contradictory evidence becomes the invisible bridge that allows manifestation to complete its journey from spiritual potential to physical reality. The journey to mastery evolves through daily obedience to spiritual law, not rigid, forced obedience, but loving alignment with principles that serve your highest expression. This isn't about perfection, it's about direction and persistence. When you slip into old patterns, as all humans occasionally do, you simply notice without judgment and gently return to your prosperity consciousness. Each return strengthens the neural pathways of abundance until, gradually, prosperity thinking becomes your default state rather than your conscious practice. True financial mastery arrives when you no longer have to remind yourself to think abundantly. It's simply who you are. When blessing money as it flows from you feels more natural than fearing its departure. When speaking prosperity feels more authentic than complaining about lack. When making decisions from abundance feels more comfortable than choosing from scarcity. This transformation from conscious practice to unconscious embodiment represents the quantum leap from doing prosperity to being prosperity. Understanding this principle of persistent obedience naturally leads us to explore how identity-level transformation creates an unstoppable momentum in your financial world, a state where nothing external can break the rhythm you've established internally. If you recognize the power of maintaining your prosperity consciousness, even when circumstances temporarily suggest otherwise, type "I stand firm in abundance" in the comments below. As we bring this journey of financial transformation to a close, I want you to remember something powerful. The principles we've explored today aren't just concepts to think about, they're living truths waiting for your embodiment. Your relationship with money is simply a reflection of your relationship with yourself, and the moment you truly claim your divine abundance as your birthright, everything shifts. The path we've walked together today reveals something most financial advisors will never tell you: that your prosperity isn't determined by economic conditions, your job title, or even your past. It's determined by the consciousness you bring to each moment, by the words you speak with conviction, and by the identity you claim with quiet authority. If you felt a resonance with these teachings, if something deep within you recognized these principles as truth, I'd love for you to be part of our community. Subscribe to join us on this continuing journey of spiritual abundance. Each video we share builds upon these foundations, creating a comprehensive pathway to living from your highest prosperity consciousness. I'm genuinely curious about your experience with these principles. If this message found you at exactly the right moment in your life, leave a comment saying, "Divine timing brought me here." Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to read to begin their own transformation. If you found value in these teachings today, a simple like lets me know these principles are resonating and helps others discover this wisdom too. It's a small gesture that creates ripples of positive impact. Right next to this video, you'll find another exploration of Florence Scovel Shinn's most powerful teachings on manifestation. It picks up exactly where we're leaving off, revealing the next level of prosperity consciousness. Click over when you're ready to continue deepening this work together. Until next time, remember, you are wealth in motion. Your abundance isn't something to achieve, it's something to remember and reclaim as your natural state of being.